Hi kids. If you run your Honda Odyssey long enough, you'll probably eventually run into this issue where the doors don't want to close. One of the cool features about the Honda Odyssey is that it has electric doors on both sides that open and slide like this. But after the car is, 20 years old and got 300,000 miles, they don't really function like they should. Typically, the middle set of rollers that this rolls on is the issue. Those start to wear out and puts too much resistance on the door, and once the door senses X amount of resistance, it thinks something's caught in the door and it opens it back up. So let's see how we're gonna fix this. So this is the part that I'm putting in. It's a knockoff, it's not a Honda part, but it looks pretty good. So I figure it ought to work, right? It's got an R on it for the right-hand side door, which right-hand side is the passenger side. Did I need to explain that? And these little plastic wheels are typically what wear out. There's a really good video by Eric the car guy replacing these on an 06. This is an 04, so it's going to be just a little bit different. He does a couple of tricks on that one that you can't do on this car. One of them is getting the door to stop in the middle so that you can access what you need to access. First step is to get this tail light out. Maybe 8 millimeters, I don't know. We'll get a screwdriver. Take these two screws out. Don't lose those. They are tricky to find if you lose one. Take that screw out. Now, just like with the Element, these kind of pull out and then pop out. So this is what you're dealing with. This little plastic pin pops in there kind of on the diagonal, right? So we need to pop it out that way or we'll break this off. Once we get the tail light kind of out of the way, we can take out these two screws. I have owned this car for many, many years and I have never taken this panel off. There's one more bolt in the front of this that we have to take out, and that whole panel should come out then. So there's the bolt we're going after. Can you see it back there? We're getting this 10 millimeter wobble. Okay, I don't know how you would get that out without this setup. There it is. So here's the trick I'm using to get that to shut when it's being ornery. Just go ahead as it gets to the end and push it in. Now we can see that this panel is loose. Pop. Comes right off. Maybe I should go get out like a yellow one and put in there so we got something crazy going on. Or maybe a green one, like the Element. So here's our track. That's the cable that pulls the door back and forth. So next thing we want to do is get this door to come open and stop about halfway. So how am I going to do that? I'll show you. We're just gonna be brutal with it. If you kind of snatch it in the opposite direction of where it's trying to go a couple times, it'll give up and stop because it thinks, what in the hell's going on? So now that we got this panel off and you can see the hinge and the door's halfway, this is what we're dealing with, right? And if you look at this, I think this front wheel is totally toast on this thing. Because watch. See how much play there is in that? There shouldn't be that much play. Before we take too much apart, we are going to want to support this door with a jack. If we don't, it's going to fall off. There's 12 millimeter bolts. The little socket wrench will just fit on there. A little tight, but it'll work. All right, our hinge is now loose from the door. See if I can pull it back or pull the door forward or something. I don't know. Yeah, we can run this backwards. And I'm gonna have to push the door forward. All right, that should give us enough room to argue with this. Let's see what we've got here. Oh yeah, look. Completely gone, and that one's pretty well toast and that one's pretty free. Wow. Well, frankly guys, this part has done its job. It is very old and been used many times, so it's earned its right to die. So I guess maybe the tricky part of this job is wrestling these two cables off. If you can see this, there's a cable keep on the end of this. This cable ends here and it ends here. And we've got to get those out and put them into these gaps. Not easy. Not an easy job. Hopefully that'll let me get enough angle on here to pop this off, because this is not easy, guys. Of course, it's starting to rain now that I've got the van disassembled. Good grief. All right, I bent that tab down. Now I'm gonna see if I can wrestle that off. Boink, comes right off. See how this goes? And what I ended up doing was bending this tab down, which gives me enough room to slide that one out. This one's easier to slide in because it's not under tension. So we want to make sure that we get it in the hole and all the way up in that barrel. Now let's wrestle this other one out, which should be easier. Here comes the fun part, guys. Rear one is going to be a mother. I've only got to go about a ½ inch to get it to make up, but that's going to be a long ½ inch. I think I got a strategy anyway. It really is a wrestling match, you guys. It is a battle of wills. Man versus minivan.
The cavalry has arrived.
Good.
Assistance is here for you.
That's just great.
If not cuteness.
Well,
Cuteness.
cute goes a long way.
It does.
I've been capitalizing on it my whole life.
You surely have. Go ahead and help me. Yeah, just wanted to let you know that your lunch is waiting for you.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome, honey. Thank you for fixing things.
Okay, while I was wrestling with this thing, my phone overheated because it's 1,000,000 degrees and raining outside. But what I found was it was easier for me to hook this back one first and then pull the front one. I had a little more slack because you've got quite a bit of cable coming up to it. And my right hand is just stronger than my left, so I'm able to kind of pull further and get that ½ inch that I need. And boy, it is a difficult ½ inch to come by, folks. This is not an easy job. I'd almost rather do a head gasket than this. So now that the cables are hooked up, you kind of loop that in there. See, that's how it goes. Now we've got to get the door back, get these two bolts back in. Yeah, that's too high. So let's continue to come back on this cable. And there, that's clear. See, you just gotta keep wrestling with everything until we can get one bolt in. I think that's pretty close, right? Put one bolt in. Let's see if we can slide that up. Whoa, get one started. Get my jack out here on the end where I can control it a little better. That's better. Now let's go up. Alright, we're up. I'm trying to go in, but my jack's in the way. There we go. This is more better. Yeah. Just get one bolt started, I can take that jack away and things will be easier to line up because I'm kind of wrestling against my jack right now. drop the jack. Yeah, let's just wrestle this mother. All right. This was a more difficult job than I thought it would be. It would be a little easier if it were not 100 degrees out. Do you have a garage? I don't. I have to work in the driveway. Before I start buttoning things back up, I want to go ahead and test it and make sure it works. Let's admire our work. Pretty good. Does it shut? Oh, so much better. Of course it was going to work better. Look at this thing. This is just gone. There's nothing left. Here's some close-ups of what we're looking at here. This is the piece that I bent to get the old one off. As you can see, the original one has a smaller gap. So far it doesn't seem to make a difference. The door didn't fall off. I bought this part off of eBay. High quality parts, 2-year warranty. I don't even know who made it. I'm sure it's Chinese. I'm sure the original Honda OEM is Chinese. And it was like 30 bucks. Let's go ahead and put the trim back on. There's the nut that your 10mm bolt from the front went through, right? You see how all this works? There's 3 of these. So we line the hole up with the peg, clip, whatever you want to call that. And then slide it back. That should be it. Now, if you're going to do this job, I recommend that you watch this video, watch Eric the Car Guy's video, watch any other video you can find on this repair, because everybody's going to show you a little bit of a trick or a little bit different camera angle, or I've got sunlight out here, so I sometimes get better lighting than some of these guys do. Point is, everybody's going to show you something a little bit different, and you're going to get a little bit better understanding the more of these videos you watch. Let's put the tail light back in. Put the tail light back in. Now let's open the door and get that, what was it, 12mm on the other end? So much better. Now it's time to go after that 10mm back in there. That should be it. It always opens fine, it doesn't shut. Nice. Get the wheelchair in out of the rain and I'll show you another little part that I'm going to put in. So when I was trying to assess what might be wrong with the door, there was another piece that I came up with, and that is this. This is a door stop, a little rubber stop that goes inside this track. And it's missing on both of my doors, so I went ahead and ordered new ones. It's just basically a rubber bumper that the door bangs into when it gets to the end of its run. And see the end of the track there? See that hole in the track? That hole in the track is for this little rubber cleat to go through and hold this in place. It's a door stop. When we're done, our top set of rollers is going to bang into that so that it knows that it's at the end of its travel. So we kind of hook that, whoops. So let's hook that onto there. That's it. It's that hard to install, guys. Yeah, it's gonna rain. Well, that's it, guys. Minimal tools, not a very expensive part. It does take a little bit of wrestling to get that installed. If you're determined enough, you can do this, I promise.